So hey everybody, Okie Man Outdoors. I just wanted to make this video today in a continuation of some of the videos I'm going to do about military life. And so this one is why I chose the career path that I chose. The earlier one, I talked about why I chose the military as a career. So why did I choose what I chose? Well, I chose to go in the medical field. For one, I knew it would be consistent when I got out. One person told me that it was a very good, wise information. So whatever you do in the military, make sure you can do that job in the civilian world. So I didn't want to go into infantry or being working with cannons or anything like that, a boatsman's mate or anything. I just wanted a career when I got out that I could continue making money. So I went in the Navy and I chose the corpsman NEC. And I went to San Diego for school. And the school wasn't bad. You did a lot of anatomy, physiology, pharmacy, all the basic courses that you would take to be an LPN, basically, is what you come out to be. So, but in the field of as a corpsman, there's so many different avenues that you can take after the main A school. You go to C school, which is school after that. I chose to go to orthopedic technician school, which was integrated with the operating room. There's so many avenues that you can take coming out of A school in the medical field in the Navy. So I went to my school, went to the orthopedic training school, and I remember one day I was in the hospital. Well, before that, let me get back to orthopedic training. Within that, I learned how to cast patients. I learned all the anatomy about the structural part of the body. Your, kinesiology, the muscles, the function, the physiology of them. I worked in the operating room and helped do surgery on orthopedic cases. So my role was in the clinic and in the operating room. And with that operating component, you learned a lot about the operating room, how to process instruments, how to maintain the instruments, how to set up an OR. Even though I wasn't an OR tech, you had to know all of this as part of the training. So after I went through all that and I was working, I had a young Marine, as a patient, and he had broke both femurs, the thigh bones, and so they had him in traction, and the pins go through your bone right above your knee, and there's a rope that's tied to it. It goes across to a pulley and down at the end of the bed on some weights, and it pulls traction on the bone so the muscles won't contract while you're waiting for surgery. But I got to know this young guy pretty well. We were about the same age. I was like 19 years old. I didn't know nothing. And he'd been in the service, 3 or 4 years, I think. And he got to telling me about the Marine Corps and what they did, and that they had, medical personnel in the field with them. And I found that very interesting. And I didn't know anything about the Marine Corps not having a medical department. And he told me that they utilize the Navy Corpsmen in their battalions and different units to provide medical attention. So I found it very interesting, the Marine Corps component. So I found out how I needed to apply, and I applied and got accepted into the FMF program, or the Field Medicine or Fleet Marine Force program, which was field medicine. At that point, I went to Camp Lejeune, and for one, I really loved that base, and I really loved North Carolina, and I really respected the Marine Corps when I went in. And I trained there. I learned how to do field medicine, learned how to take care of the Marines in a combat situation where there was no doctor, where there was no nurses. We had a thing called a Unit 1. It was about this big around, about this wide, and everything you needed was packed in it. So you had to learn how to improvise in the field because you didn't have a big pack of supplies to take care of anybody that got wounded. So you were very limited in what you had. So you had to be very MacGyver-ish to figure out how to treat things in the field with limited supplies. And I did well at it. I was in my element. I grew up in the country. I loved being in the field. There were some people out there that were corpsmen and they hated it and they couldn't wait to get back to the hospital, but that wasn't me. I thrived in that area. And I stayed with the Marine Corps for 17 years because I loved it. And while I was there, I found out that I could go Marine Corps Regs, which I could go through a program, and I had to do the Marine Corps PFT. I had to abide by their guidelines and by their rules and the military laws with the Marine Corps, UCMJ, and I could wear their uniform. So I was integrated or engrafted into the Marine Corps through this corpsman as a field medicine corpsman, and I loved it. And I had a CO at the Camp Lejeune, where it's actually at Camp Johnson, come up to me one day and he said, "You know, I don't look at you as a corpsman. I look at you as a Marine that has a specialty to help our Marines in the time of need." And I took that as an honor because I upheld the uniform that I wore with respect. I never wore a Navy uniform after that. Never. I was always in the Marine Corps uniforms. And I had a lot of respect from the Marine Corps and the units that I was with. I was with a forward unit. I was with the infantry unit. I was with the howitzer unit. I was with a short time with the special operation team. And, you know, I thrived in those areas. And I took care of my guys. They were first priority to me. I'd put my life on the line to protect them and to help them and to get them where I could take care of them, and if I needed to, get them out of there as fast as I could. So I really enjoyed being a FMF corpsman. I did. And I took all those skills that I learned and the individuality that I had and the being able to think quickly on demand. When you come up to someone and they've been shot or they're bleeding out, you don't have time to look through a book and figure out what's going on. You got to know what to do immediately. And there's some hard times where you have mass casualties and you have to go through them, and you have to look at somebody that you may know that you can't use supplies on him because you know that person's not going to make it. Those are hard decisions to make during triage, is to move on to the next person. Those impact you the rest of your life. You know, when you have death, dealing with death wasn't normal. And during my time, I've become very callous toward death. It didn't bother me. It's not that I was flippant about it, but it didn't weigh on me because it happened so much. And there was a couple events that happened to me while I was in there, and those things have impacted my whole life. They have impacted my mental health to the point to where I was in therapy for years and still in therapy because I have triggers at times that takes me back to those events. And we'll talk about that component in another video. But back to what I did as a Marine Corpsman, I didn't take it lightly. I loved my job. I loved my Marines. I love the Marines today. I'll do anything in the world for Marines. I still go to the Marine Corps balls because I love my Marines, and I have always been there as much as I could to support them and help them. So if you're considering going into the Navy in the medical department, I highly recommend to look into the Fleet Marine Force and see if that's you. But I will tell you, if you can't cut it, you'll be out of there. They'll eat you up and spit you out in a minute. They know real quick if they can depend on you or not. And if they can't depend on you, you're gone. They are not going to waste their time on you. And rightfully so. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm trying to make some for more awareness and education. I'm not supported by anybody, and I'm definitely not a audio visual person. I don't do this for a living. So if it's not the best quality, I apologize. I do my best. But I'm Okie Man, and this is Okie Man Outdoors, and I ask you to subscribe, support the channel, and I'm doing this for awareness, for people wanting to join the military, and also I'm going to talk about more things that are directly impacting veterans today that I deal with on a daily basis now in the civilian world. Thank you for joining.